everyone, welcome to Life Through the Lens. Tonight we have joining us the uber cool Brian Matiash of On One Software, who most of you already know is a killer photographer, teacher, and post-processing guru. Tonight we're also going to find out a whole bunch of stuff you probably didn't know about him, and he's got a surprise for us. So hold on to your pants, friends, because it's going to be a good one. We also have our Life Plus One segment where we get to share with you photographers that inspire us. Tonight, Brian is going to share some that inspire him. So, without further ado, let the introductions begin. My name is Kelli Seeger. I am a macro photographer and stay-at-home mom. If you want to find any of my work, you can see it on my Google Plus profile page. I also co-curate Macro Monday with Kerry Murphy and Jennifer Eden. Next up, we have Nguyen.
Hi everyone, Nguyen here. I'm a photographer in Naples, Florida. I'm trying to stay as above water as I can on Google Plus with posting and seeing all the awesome stuff every day. So keep posting, keep it up. I love seeing it on my stream. If you want to follow more of my work, you can check out my website at zanna.com.
Right on. Brian Matiash, hello.
Thank you, first of all, for that really, really sweet, full of lies introduction.
It's what I do.
You know, and you do it well. Yeah, my name is Brian Matiash. I'm the Curriculum and Education Manager here at On One. In my little webinar studio right now because it's quiet. And I'm also a photographer. I've been a photographer a lot longer than I have been here on One. But I just love shooting. I love that I get paid to help other people get inspired to shoot and to use our software. So I'm from Brooklyn, New York, but I'm now in Portland, Oregon. Totally different life altogether, and I post every day I try to post every day to Google Plus with just some anecdotes about and backstory about the images that I take, and you can it's plusbrian.com. Big shout out to Dave Pfeffer for helping me out with that.
Right on. We are very happy to have you with us tonight.
Thank you.
Karen Hutton.
Hello. You know, Brian, it sounded like you said that you're the Curriculum and Entertainment Manager. Is that what you said?
You know, depending on the day and how much coffee I had, I think that would be appropriate.
I think excellent. That could be something you might want to adopt. I don't know. It's just a thing. So I'm Karen Hutton, and you can find me here on Google Plus. That's home. I do voiceovers professionally. That's KarenHutton.com, and I have photography going on. That's lifeislightphotography.com. But like I say, here is home.
Woo! We're roommates. Keith Barrett, the wonderful Keith Barrett, the other studly stud here, who is streaming this and recording it for us. Hi, Keith.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm Keith Barrett. You can reach me at keithplus.me. I'm a computer tech guy at the Walt Disney Company, as well as a photography enthusiast, now that I have a camera. And I live stream Hangouts here on Google Plus for anybody that would like to do that. And thank you very much for having me.
Kerry Murphy, hi.
Hi. Hey everybody, I'm Kerry Murphy. I am a photographer. I'm also a mom, and I do work full-time. I also co-curate Macro Monday with Kelly and Jennifer Eden, and also co-curate Women Wednesday. And I am the entertainment manager in my house. I don't know if my kids would agree, but we try. And I'm happy to be here, and welcome to everybody in the chat room and watching.
We're going to play games tonight, and you're going to like it. That's right. Not Ron. Tamara Pruessner, hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tamara Pruessner. I'm a photographer in Tucson, Arizona, and you can find most of my recent work here on Google+. I do have a website. It is not upkept very well. In fact, it needs a complete overhaul, but it is www.throughtamseyes.com.
Hey. Hannah Teel, good evening.
Hey, good evening. I am Hannah Teel, and that sounded like kind of like a hairball on that deal.
She's going to
So, all right, let's start Do-overs. I'm Tana Teel. I'm a photographer in Eastern Washington, and I am the entertainment in my house, obviously. So not on purpose usually, but that happens quite often. Anyway, it's going to be a fun night, guys.
Yes. And last but certainly not least, Ron Clifford.
Hello, I'm Ron Clifford. I'm also a photographer. Most of my work is posted to G+. I'm working really hard at keeping my website up to date and doing blog posts, but daily life gets posted on Google+ when I have time. I love to shoot people, places, and things, but I'm primarily a wedding and event photographer as well as a nature and outdoor enthusiast. I got into something kind of by the way through another person on Google+, and I just wanted to share it with you. And it's about the mentorship program here on Google+, something that's been really, really rewarding for me. I got involved through Randy J. Braun, who's also on Google+, and he thought it would be a really good idea if there was some photographers that were more advanced willing to offer a bit of time to photographers that were just learning. And basically what it is I've taken on a group of 6 mentorees and quite a number of people that are just auditing or observing from the outside the mentoring program. We're in going into week number 7 of 8 weeks, and so it's getting really exciting. I'm watching everybody grow through that. And I think one of the things I'm really learning about this is it's not so much about teacher and student as it is about relationship. I'm growing just as much as the people that I'm helping with their photography. It's almost like it's like being back in school, except only the good parts of it. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because in 2 weeks from now on the show, we're going to have a guest join me talking about the mentorship program. Robin Griggs-Wood is going to come back, and we're going to talk about mentoring and teaching, the process of learning, and we'll even have a couple of mentorees come on during the show and talk about their experience. So
we're really excited about that because that just goes along with our. I didn't mean to bust in, and yet here I go busting.
Busting
with excitement.
Bust away, Buster. I was just going to say we're so excited about you guys we're going to do a whole show on the mentoring program because it's unique unto G+. It's so supportive of the people here, and it's been. I have a friend who is in your class, has gone through it.
Yeah.
And, oh my God! Seeing how far she's come and seeing what personally as well as in her work, the difference. It's just amazing. So I'm really excited. I'm super excited you're going to have students on to hear more, because I think this is the beginning of something big.
I think so too. When I heard about it, I knew that I really wanted to be involved, and I was just trying to find out a way to balance the time, the commitment of time involved in mentoring a group of people. And I think what I'm coming to is that, and I think Robin is feeling the same way, is that if we have a basic framework, we don't have to teach the same thing. We have different styles. She's teaching a very artistic mentoring program. I'm teaching it's artistic, but it's really geared towards photography. And then there's another photographer that's just joined, Daryl Van Gogh, who's doing astrophotography as a mentoring program over a much longer period of time. So that's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
I'm going to be really, it's going to be fun to see what you guys come up with for Life Plus One segment too, because if you're out there inspiring people, we're going to want to see who inspires you. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm easily excited.
Oh, righty.
And on that note,
take it away.
Matiash is in the house. Brian Matiash, you're like a legend in your own time.
Oh.
Wow.
How did you manage that, we wonder?
That makes me worry.
Yeah, pretty much. It should. So, Brian, you work with On One software, but you've been a photographer for a long time, and you also have a real strong tech background, and I'm curious about all of it. But more than anything, what I promised everybody we would tell them is how you started in photography. I love this story.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. I never really, growing up, I think we all had our cameras that our parents had, and every now and then you'd grab it and you'd take a picture of it, go off. That was obviously back in the day of film. But when I went to school, it all started really when I went to school to Syracuse University in '96. And I was a really shy kid, only because I never really left Brooklyn my entire life. I was there all my life, and then I went up to Syracuse. And this, I never did laundry, I never ironed, I never did anything for myself other than go to school and come home and hang out and do what teenagers and adolescents do in New York City. So when I went up to Syracuse, I still remember the dude who helped me do laundry.
Oh my God! So there's hope for my kids then.
Yeah. It was like 18 years.
I feel much better now.
It was, and now I love doing laundry. Those who know me, I love ironing. I love doing laundry. But I was really shy, and I never really left my dorm room. And so my parents figured maybe one of the things they would try is they got me a camera. And the way that I understand is, they figured if you put the camera to your face, it's kind of like you're blocking your face, and you're looking through a lens. And I know it's kind of metaphorical, but it really did do the trick, because I started going out, and that's actually where I also kind of got my love of photographing architecture. Like, I grew up in New York City, and bye, Emma.
She'll be back. We do this all the time.
Yeah.
I am just that boring.
No.
No, I know. But long and short of it was, growing up in New York, I had no shortage of architecture, like cool architecture, buildings and bridges and everything in between. And so that's, with Syracuse, I was able to kind of take that love and put it to photography, because for anyone that's been to that campus, it's just gorgeous, and it's really varied with the type of architecture that they have. That was back in the film days, and it got so expensive really quickly, because I would just take film and bring it to the bursar's office, or rather I would bring it to the student lounge and bill it to the bursar's office, which went to my parents, which I was just the worst brat about that. But they, I do think that I owe it to them, because they helped me. They got me the camera, and they never really questioned the photography. But it wasn't only until years later where it started materializing into more. But yeah, I got into it through that, and it was really only architecture initially. I never, even to this day, I don't really shoot people. I've shot 2 weddings, my own weddings, and there are 2 more than I ever should have.
Which is
There's a lot
to learn after one.
said for you to know.
Yeah.
Boy,
Good to know.
I hear you.
Hey, you know what, Brian? It takes a very special person to shoot architecture, and it takes a very special person to shoot weddings, and they are not always the same person.
No, that's true.
Yeah, it's true, and that's the thing, I see so many budding photographers, and they try to be everything to every. I do landscape and commercial and wedding and portrait and senior and baby and bar mitzvahs, and it's easy. They're tiger, But that's another discussion, obviously. You really just want to.
That's another day.
Look, I spent a lot of years making really, really bad images, as I'm sure all of us did and do. But that's how you learn, and it was those formidable years, I think, really ruining a lot of film that got me to where I kind of started to appreciate what makes a good architectural image. I'm not academically trained in photography. I never took a course in my life in photography or architecture. It's just kind of like you figure what you like and you go with it, and that's kind of like Kelly with the macro stuff. It's just awesome. You just kind of have an affinity and you go for it. So
do you find, Brian, that your parents' plan worked? Was it a slow process? Did it work, or was it just part of maturing that you've become more social?
It's maturing, because when I was growing up, I wanted to try everything. Like, I wanted to learn how to play the piano, and for me, I'm the king of putting the cart in front of the horse. I'm like, oh. that's how I was. They took me to magic lessons. They took me to building rockets. They took me to. They were the best. Well, they are. Just fantastic parents. But at some point, they kind of. It was actually with the piano lessons that they're like, you know what, this is getting ridiculous. I'd end it. I'd lose focus. I'd lose attention. That's something that I struggle with every single day to this day, even in my professional career here at On One, is attention. I have a really, really notoriously short attention span.
As do all photographers, I think.
At
least everyone in this room.
Yeah.
But our unifying characteristic is that photography itself is what kind of
brings your focus.
We can talk about it. We can engage in it. We can review it. We can read about it. That is this common thread that we all of us here, and I'm sure everyone watching can share and relate to. When I realized that, that's where I thought that, if it was my parents spent all this money and they're the best. They paid for my college. I didn't have to pay for college, and all that education was in such the opposite direction where I am now.
What's interesting is that I was also very shy when I was a kid, and I was into a lot of the same things you were, rocketry and stuff like that. I wonder if that's just a path that shy people go, all these self-contained, fun things that you can do by yourself.
It very well could be, and it's something that actually would be probably fun to discuss.
Photographer nerds, whatever it is, photographer nerds.
Well, so many of us are basically introverts.
Yeah.
Some of us learn the skill of being out there, but I love being out there. But good Lord, give me my own room, in my own bathroom, in my own space at the end of the day, or I'm going to kill somebody.
And that camera is a good buffer.
Yeah, Karen and I talk about that whenever we've hung out, where it's just kind of like. I love the social aspect of all this, like the photo walks and getting to know people who otherwise I never would have met in my life. But at the same time, it's like there is that decompression, at least for some of us, I think.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I love that short attention span comment, because in my voiceover career, that's what I do professionally. I hate long narrations. Like if there's like 40 pages of dialogue, I want to shoot myself. Yeah.
Who's paying attention at that point?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
right?
Right out of the gator. No
I mean, you're very exciting. Don't get me wrong.
We've established
I cling to every word.
Yeah, I mean, I know voiceover people who make a living doing that. I mean, a really, really good living doing long-form narration in books, and I'm like,
okay, books. I was going to say, what would be long-form, I guess, books?
Well, there's also corporate narrations that go on for 40 or 50 pages, tutorials.
Oh yeah,
right.
Or if you're commentating a nature show like National Geographic, that would be
okay. I'd like to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a little different.
The Richard
I could do that one.
That I could do. That's not the same as
coinciding visuals.
But it has visuals, yes.
Yeah, but I really tend to thrive in the much more short form because it's done and then it's over with and I'm on to the next thing. So it's just that I never thought of it as being a short attention span, but perhaps it is.
I think more people are I don't want to say suffer, because it's not necessarily a detriment per se, but I think a lot more people can relate to that than they think. For me, it's without a doubt, it's impactful how short my attention span can be. Like,
I noticed that with a lot of creative people, artists, photographers, anybody that does something creatively, they do have that short attention span. It's like it's almost as if they have all these muses and they can't seem to funnel it to focus on something. It's just like, what a great idea. Oh, look, shiny thing. Oh, another great idea.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it too,
there's definitely a character type. It's not across the board. I'm generalizing, but there are an awful lot of people that have similar characters, and I think part of the reinforcement, we've talked about this before on the show, talking about how meeting like-minded people has given us all permission to grow as artists and people together, because when we were isolated in our little worlds, even when we had Facebook and Twitter and that, we didn't have this community that we have now, and it has expanded I'm a very social person. I wasn't always. I was rather shy when I was young, but I've become a really social person. But I found that the Google Plus community has opened up the opportunity, and I think about words like permission and approval, to be creative people together. And it's growing us more as people as well as artists. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very good point.
So true. So true.
Well, you know
About
what it does?
I mean, Brian, you have ended up as an artist, but that's not how you started. You just went down a whole technical road there for a long time. I was amazed when we hung out together. I mean, you and my husband's all techie and IT and this, and you two
awesome.
just went off riffing on things, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
My attention span. Short attention span.
I got caught up on my Google Plus. It was cool.
Yeah.
But
It was delicious.
that was like where you started. You started to go down that road, and then went. So
I started.
What happened?
Well, so my bachelor's and my master's degrees are in like project management and information resources management. That's what I'm educated in, and those are the kinds of jobs that I got or I pursued, and I intentionally make that distinction of calling them jobs versus a career, because I think in hindsight those were much more kind of fleeting. But I worked at various IT companies. I worked at Motorola right out of the gate, and then worked at an IT consulting company for several years. I worked at the U.S. National Archives and Records Administration.
Wow.
That was a cool job. That was pretty cool. The job itself wasn't cool, but getting access to the all the genealogy stuff and like in the back room seeing the like archival documents, like the actual documents, was pretty awesome.
That would be very cool.
But along the way, you see my attention span's already fading.
Don't worry, mine is too.
Yeah.
It's all good.
You're so done with that. You're done with it. That's all there is to it.
No, the long and short was it started really kind of organically in terms of a buddy of mine was a realtor, and at the time I was living in Boston, and he wanted some shots of some properties, higher-end properties that he was trying to sell. And that was also around the time when I was already a couple years into HDR processing, like tone mapping, and I was trying to refine it in a way that it could be used more commercially, because the stuff that I was doing for the fine art stuff and especially what you saw when HDR became mainstream was definitely more kind of garish or like in your face and punchy, and also the technology wasn't there. Like the software has just gotten better, and people's understanding of how to shoot for HDR has gotten better. So I took those shots, and that made money, you know. Up until that point, all my jobs essentially funded my photography obsession. And so once I got to that point where, all right, I was getting some steady gigs shooting realty because my buddy told other realtors, and then one of my friend's cousins opened a restaurant in Somerville. And so she asked if I would photograph her restaurant because they wanted the website to have good images. And that got going. And all of a sudden now I have a portfolio. Oh, okay, cool. Let me get a tax ID for this, DBA, or doing business as type of thing. And let me, take the proper steps of file, because I'm making money now. Let me go out and buy all the software legitimately. Let me go and what? Look, I'm not I find it so funny. I work at a software company, and I can appreciate what licensing, but I can also appreciate a 20-year-old, 21, 22-year-old not having $500, $600 at the time, and for Photoshop, what, $1,000? Look, but I think everyone kind of feels the same way. It's like, if I ever make money, and it's a big if, don't delude yourself. If I start making money, I will do the right thing. So I did that and filed my taxes. Then the bigger stuff really started, like Intercontinental Boston. That was, at the time, one of my biggest clients, where I shot them. It was a beautiful hotel, mirrored hotel. Did stuff for them, and around that time, that's kind of where the whole On One thing started because.
Oh.
Yeah, that was. It was a. Yeah, it was a. That was a cool. That's a cool. That was a story. I'm really. That was a fun story too. How that all happened.
And
the story.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't know. I want to say.
Hold my breath here.
I want to be.
I know. Well, I'll tell you what. Tell us the story, and as you're doing that, pull up some of your images because I want to hear the story, and we want to see some of your images that are so gorgeous.
Let me do that.
That you used said software to create, which ties into.
Sure.
Yeah. So what was the story?
So the story was in 2009. You guys know about Photoshop World? I'll just kind of scroll through images here.
Yep.
That's great.
I went to Photoshop World in Boston in 2009, and you see, I'm getting distracted looking at images.
I know, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to, but we're all going to be oohing and awing while you do this, too. So
no, not at all.
It's a real challenge for your ADD.
You know what it is? It's not distracted looking at images. I don't know if there's a slideshow function here. Is there a slide? Oh, wait, maybe there is a slideshow function.
Get out of here. That'd be awesome.
I don't think so. Okay, I'll just...
It's called your finger.
That's a theme.
Finger action?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Thank God you have a magic one.
Very magic. And they're quick, too. So I went to Photoshop World in Boston, and that was my first time there. I was a paying attendee, and I wanted to, when I went to the expo floor, On One Software was there, and they had an educational discount for the suite. And I bought it. I bought it on education because I was actually at the time going for I was going for another master's degree at Bentley. When I worked at the National Archives, they had an amazing tuition reimbursement program. So I was like, screw it, I'll get another master's. It won't cost me anything. So I bought the software, and anyone who bought the software at that show, only the people who bought the software would be eligible to win. They'd be put into a raffle to win a copy of Photoshop, Lightroom, a Color Monkey. It was several thousands of dollars worth of prizes. Long and short of it was they pulled my ticket. I won, and so I got everything. And you know what the funniest part was? Is about 2 or 3 weeks later, I switched jobs. I lost the tuition reimbursement, and so all of a sudden I was in a real pinch for money. So I returned the software within the 30-day return. And I'll flash forward to my very, very first day at On One. They flew me out to Portland, and they presented me, and they said, "Oh, by the way, here's your employee ID," and it was actually the serial number that I returned because they dug up the records. We are not without our senses of humor here at On One Software.
I love that. That's brilliant.
Oh, and you had to have said, "I'm home."
Yeah. That got me. That caught me off guard because I totally forgot that I returned it. I remember winning the prize.
They just wanted you to know that you could slide one by.
Oh yeah. You're not coming into the family without your secrets.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So the long and the short of it was, they let me keep the software, and as I started using it and learning it more, I would send, at the time, the VP of Marketing, his name's Mike Wong, we kind of developed a relationship. I sent him images to show him what I was doing, and just to thank, because I was so appreciative. Every time we had a major update, he would send me a free update. And what that led to was him asking me if I wanted to do a webinar. They were just starting their webinar program in 2010, and they wanted me to guest present on this kind of photography, like urbex photography. Because all of this stuff, pretty much every image you've seen so far has gone through our products.
Yeah.
They're tone mapped, but then they're stylized in the suite. So
I have to, right here when you say that, I have to interject something, which is, as you're showing your pictures, my education in post-processing and learning these tools was all through On1 Software and Nick Software's free webinars.
Yeah.
yeah.
Man.
That's it, man.
That's how it's done.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was the best free education I've ever had, and of course, I mean, also did what it was supposed to do, which made me a fan of the product too.
Right.
Let me tell you something.
I'm going to
So, Brian, you do a great job explaining how to use the On1.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You stay, your voice is not, well, you have a nice voice to listen to, but you go slow and you explain it, and you always sound a little happy, so then it's like exciting. So I think it's kind of fun to watch it.
One of the first videos I ever watched about plug-in software I was really unfamiliar with was one of yours, and it had to do with that tall ship, I believe, that you had shown earlier.
Yeah.
You did a demo with that, and that was one of the first demos I'd seen in this On1 Suite plug-in software. That one there.
Yeah, it's inadvertent. Like, I think every photographer over the course of their time will get their one or two shot, like their defining shots, this became one of them. I knew I loved it right away, but the response was really overwhelming. I couldn't believe it. And there's so much, when I see this, there's so much that I hate about it. But no, in terms of just like, I hate that these two sales were down, but the story, but that's kind of why I like it, is because, and it keeps reminding me that we're always our critics. But if you were there with me and saw just how kind of haphazard this shot came to be, it really was. It was totally luck. It was just hanging off the side of a boat that was in heavy waves, and just managed to get that shot with the flare, the solar flare. So, but yeah, that was a fun time, and I thank you very much. Also, whenever I hear positive stuff about the webinar program, it's great, because that's my baby. That's what I was hired initially to do, was to take up the On1 University. It's expanded since then, but the long and the short of it was, after that webinar, it was received really well. They asked me to come to Photoshop World in Vegas to speak at their booth, and then they wanted to keep doing things. They wanted, let's do a photo walk, let's do this, let's do that, and I couldn't.
Oh, that's awesome.
I said, I'm like, I'd love to do this full time. It exactly. I remember on the phone, I was talking to Mike, and I said, I'd love to do this full time. It was just a quip, just a random, and he's like, oh, let me see what I can do about that. That pretty much is verbatim how it happened. 2 weeks later, we were talking about my job responsibilities, and I worked remotely for the first year out of my place in Boston, and then I just wanted to get back. I wanted to be in the office, because this is such a creative office. It thrives.
Excellent.
Oh, this is the upskirt of Brooklyn Bridge.
Right on.
Yeah. That's how we roll.
That's like the Maryland shot of the Brooklyn Bridge.
What's that?
That's like the
Maryland shot. Yeah.
Of the Brooklyn Bridge. Up the skirt, honey.
Right.
Well, the reason why is because the side of the Brooklyn Bridge has been under construction for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
It's like that white tarp, and it drives me nuts. So it's like, let me try something different, and it just kind of went straight up. My camera tripod almost fell onto the road below because it was hanging. In order to get it centered like this, it had to kind of jut off of the pathway, and so that was fun.
Good times. Good
times.
Well, do you think moving to Portland has developed sort of the sense of style that you have now with the Urbex? Did you start with it in Brooklyn and bring it, and then Portland gave it its own vibe, or how do you think that that's kind of changed?
Well, I know that with New York City, a lot of it was grungy. Especially growing up, I remember just everything being, before Giuliani came in, it was just a mess. And I was still, I wasn't, as I guess keenly observant as I am now. As we get older, I think we become more observant of things. But I just remember it being really kind of danky, and I know that is without a doubt why I love and gravitate towards this kind of stuff, where it's just really texturized and just kind of a lot of rubble and stuff like that. However, what living in New York City did do is give me this appreciation for kind of metroplexes, like this is Boston under the Seeger Bridge, and I love kind of seeing the structures that people, designers, architects, and builders, they risk their lives, and a lot of times, paid with it to give us this beautiful stuff. That's kind of also the tragedy of today, at least in this country, where you want to go shoot some beautiful architecture in the city, and you get harassed by security guards, that don't know any better. So
That's gorgeous.
thanks. Actually, this was processed to my iPad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this was
Wow.
the iPad is a force not to be ignored.
Wow.
So Brian,
Yeah.
you moved out to Portland in November for
Yeah.
On One for your job,
Mm-hmm.
and all you talk about is how much you love it in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
You have found your home. What would you say is your favorite thing about Portland, and how it has affected your shooting, what you shoot?
I never, prepping to move to Portland, I was going through a lot of personal stuff. Like I was actually in the process of going through a divorce. And it wasn't a bad thing. It was just kind of, it needed to happen. And you couldn't ask for a better kind of more cathartic change in life. Moving almost 3,000 miles from one side of the country to the other side. Actually the day that it was finalized in court, that day was when I went to the airport. And
Yeah.
that was it.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
It was very clean. So leading up to that, I just kind of had a lot of fog, as it were, in my head, just figuring things out. And I'm a city boy. I love the city. I've camped on, 4 times in my life. And that's car camping, with a extension cord going from the into the tent with the.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not without my creature comfort.
Take out food with us,
Yeah.
You can camp with us anytime.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, I want my wine in the box. I want.
Get the little fireplace on your iPad.
And my Netflix, damn it.
If we can get Netflix, even better.
Wow.
But I guess when I moved out here, I never expected. I guess, to have the reaction like Karen said. I've absolutely fallen in love with Portland and with the Pacific Northwest because of just how gorgeous it is. It's it rains a lot, but I love that. I don't understand why photographers would be afraid of the rain. We go out shooting like Karen. When Karen came to visit the first time when we were with Ben Canales, we were shooting in some funky weather. Our tripods were getting blown away.
We were getting blown away.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was raining, but that adds to the allure of the images. Like if anyone can just go out and get it, that does not interest me at all. If it requires, some sort of a inclement weather, good. But the long and short of it is, moving here, I've shot more landscape, more nature than I ever have in my life. Shooting nature before I moved was one of those things where I waited till the summer and I went to Acadia for a 4-day, respite. And I'm like, oh. So, or going to the local park, going to Central Park. Everyone was in New York, go to Central Park or go into the Boston Common. That was shooting nature. Because I'm way too lazy to get up for sunrise. And the sunsets on the northeast they're crap compared to what I've seen on the northwest.
Yeah.
So,
I thought that's funny that you say that, for you to shoot nature, you just went to Central Park or you went somewhere. When I visited Troy, I met up with some photographers, and their idea of shooting nature during the winter was going to the botanical gardens to shoot orchids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, I hate to be, the buster, but I live in Florida, and I want to go see abandoned buildings and decrepancy and urban decay. And
that is unfortunately not really unfortunate, but that's what I'm missing here. yeah, that is that urban decay, because Portland's a newer city, respectively, to New York or Massachusetts, and or Massachusetts is not a city, but Boston. The point is that, yeah, I don't get that, and I hear what you're saying too, because it's all about what people perceive as like, well, you want nature, let's go to the botanical gardens, and you can do your flowers.
Well, so given that we have, well, for two reasons, I want to see you do a little processing, because we always love watching other artists do their thing.
Yes.
So if you wouldn't mind doing that, and then since we're doing a little giveaway of the On1 software, maybe you can show us a few tricks, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
With your quick
magic fingers of Don't mind if I do, ladies.
Gently now, gently.
All right, so let's go.
Oh boy. Oh.
Can we see screens?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right, so
There we go.
I'm gonna. I figured what I do is we'll do a little. I actually worked on this image a while ago on one of my webinars, and I really like it because it illustrates a few different things. But I figured first we'll just do some tone mapping. I use Photomatics as my tone mapping product of choice, only because I'm used to it. I like it. And then we can go into the suite, and I'll show you just kind of some core, I guess, or fundamental concepts with stylization that I really try to live by, and I try to share on the webinars. So what I did here was, this is, I don't know, depending on who you talk to, some might call this urbex, some might call this just urban photography. And don't worry, it is skewed. I didn't rotate it yet. I don't do my.
I'm going to interrupt you real fast.
Yeah.
Can you define what urbex is? Because I'm not sure if everybody really
I'm sorry. Absolutely.
knows what that is.
And it's a great point. Urbex is a kind of a condensed phrase of urban exploration. And there are definitely extreme versions of that. Like, I've seen, you can go on like Vimeo and YouTube and see people doing extreme urbex where they're literally climbing down manholes into sewers and just exploring the parts of the city that are just totally, closed off.
Yeah.
For me, it was more the abandoned areas, and also just kind of like, if you look at urban exploration, that's exploring the city, an urban environment. They also kind of came up with there's urbex and rural. I can't even say it. Ruralex.
Ruralex. That is
basically a rural exploration.
That would be me, I guess.
Well, no, yeah, and you know what, Tana, when I was out shooting off, kind of off the Columbia River Gorge, we found these these houses that were just totally dilapidated, and abandoned. And
yeah, if you take the old highway that goes from Crown Point down, it takes you all the way to the I think past the river, and it goes to the Dalles all the way. There's several goofy little kind of towns in there where there's gas stations that were there that aren't there anymore, but fallen apart. There's some really neat stuff along that road.
Yeah, and so it's just a matter of kind of I call it urbex, call it whatever you want. It's just kind of like, this is the kind of stuff that I gravitate to most. This is just which one? I think this is the Essex Street subway station in New York City, in Manhattan. And it was kind of late at night. I think, who's with it? Was it? And Nicole was standing right next to me. She was actually kind of keeping guard, because I was getting funky looks at people. Because I needed to wait for a span of time where no one was coming up the escalator. Right. And so what I did was I used my camera and a device called a Promote Control at the time to bracket. So what I'm doing is I'm taking various exposures, just changing the shutter speed, not changing the ISO or the aperture. And what we're doing is each exposure is kind of getting detail that normally would not be seen in, or could not be captured in just one shot. So for instance, a good example of that is like, look at the lights up here. If we went to, I'm going to go here and I'm going to select these two images. Okay, so this would probably be the exposure your camera would get if you just took a shot. You have lost all shadow detail. You've lost all highlight detail. And the purpose for me for doing HDR is not to give you that HDR look. That's not the point of it. But my point is I want to get a baseline that is representative of what the scene looked like when I was standing here. To me, this is unacceptable to give you this blown out highlight. Now I could I could mask it together, but watch. Let's go ahead now, and I'm going to take these images. I'm going to send them to Photomatics, and we're going to do this quickly. You know, I don't want to bore anyone with it. But
there's no risk of that.
Awesome. Oh, this is essentially what I'm kind of doing. What I do most every day is I get now an opportunity to share it with everyone. My workflow.
You get to share, and this time you get to give away.
Yeah.
We share
sharing is caring,
and we give awayeth.
What? Did you say sharing is Karen?
Yes, sharing is caring. Although Karen.
I think my co-hosts would agree with me tonight, wouldn't they?
Yes, we would.
So, a few things. One, I'm just going to really quickly go through the sliders here, but you'll notice that with tone mapping, one of the kind of pitfalls is that anything that's moving in your frame will get kind of ghosted. That's not a problem. We can fix that. What I'm going to do really quickly is just kind of get this to a baseline image. I'm looking for something that's just kind of evenly exposed. If anything, it's going to look dull, and that's exactly what I'm going for. Just something that, like, if you were standing here, maybe not so much luminosity. If you were standing here, this is about what you'd see. Is this amount of information?
You're just gathering all the light data, just everything, because your eye skips around and makes adjustments for, oh, that's bright, but your eye adjusts, and then you look down there and that's dark, and your eye adjusts. So the impression is that it's this.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Karen, if you were driving through a dark tunnel and you just kind of come out into the open after the tunnel ends, it's not like your eyes go white and then dark. You know, your eyes adjust in milliseconds.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. Is
You're my age.
That's funny that you mentioned that. You know, a lot of people ask, you know, what is HDR, and they think it's that overly processed.
Oh, they think it's this.
image.
I'll show you. I'll show you right here. That's what they think.
Woo! Ouch!
Ow! Hoochie, mama.
And now my eyes are bleeding.
Yes, as they should.
Put your pants back on.
As they should. That's what I was saying earlier. It's the evolution of tone mapping. And tone mapping is basically this process. That's the kind of the clinical technology where it goes, all 9 of the images that I fed it, it went on a pixel by pixel basis, and it figured out, all right, which is the best exposure for the overall scene.
Okay, so not to make you feel stressed or shy or rushed in any way less than you already are, you magnificent man, but you have, I don't know, 4 minutes.
Watch this. So watch this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take that image. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to ignore what I would do to fix the moving escalator. Escalators move. That's what they do. So, and we all get upset when they don't move. So.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. I'm going to send this over.
Especially in the subway.
And the airports.
Yes.
When you're stuck in a little spot like this and you feel like you might get the heck out of there.
So, aside from the escalator fiasco here, the thing that I try to teach most about is in webinars is to kind of stylize with intent. So I'm going to take this into Perfect Effects. Perfect Effects is one of the products of the suite here, and you can see the components of the suite are up here.
So are you saying of this? So what are all the products in the suite again? Because this is what we're giving away.
So the suite is 7 products. The first one is Perfect Layers. We actually, as of last week, are giving that away for free to anyone.
Yeah, so that's a big fat nothing. So what are the rest?
Yeah. Later.
Kidding.
Let's go last week.
It's free to me.
That's so free.
Perfect Mask is. I actually did a webinar on that earlier today. Perfect Mask allows you to remove backgrounds around things that have complex edges like hair or smoke. Or
it works really well too, I gotta say.
It's gone actually with
very
this.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of 1,000 times better with our latest update that we also announced last week's Suite 6.1. Perfect Portrait is for portrait retouchers, so we have automatic face detection technology. So it'll find your face, it'll find your eyes and your mouth and your lips, and it'll help you adjust for each face. If there are multiple faces, you have targeted adjustments there. Perfect Effects is what we're in now. This is essentially the previous incarnation of this Photo Tools is what I attribute to getting me my role here at On One.
Is this, since you chose this, is this like your favorite tool?
Without a doubt, this and Focal Point, which is represented by Focus, those are my two favorite tools.
Do you like this one better than the other one?
Oh, do I like this one better than Focal Point? Or absolutely, this is my number one.
Okay.
Don't take this away.
Okay, just wanted to know. Don't get touchy.
Listen, you're talking about
Easy
my
boy,
product.
easy.
You're talking about my product. I get my baby.
Yeah.
And then this Focal Point, which allows you to simulate shallow depth of field. The photo frame is a library of edges, adornments. It's just basically allows you to lay out your image if you wanted to make a photo book, and then perfect resize. Used to be called genuine fractals. If you're going to take an image and enlarge it to great lengths, you would use that when you don't want to lose quality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And there's my elevator pitch.
So in a little bit, we're going to be asking you guys a question. Those of you in the chat that answer the question, the first one of you to answer the question in the chat correctly will win this mighty, mighty suite from On One Software that is not
Just
free.
one of you, only one of you.
And the suite is not free. Just one of the products in the suite is free. This is a bitchin' product. Okay.
Yes, it is. Bitchin'.
I hope you're paying attention.
So the way I usually work with these types of CDs, I'll work on. You have these effects, and the effects change the overall look of the image. Now, for me, I'll apply the effect that will apply to the most amount of the image first. So in that case here, it's this effect called thermopylae. Now you'll see it comes in. Let me drop the effect bar here. It applies to the whole image, and what I'll usually do is I'll start at 0. And when I do this, this is basically me kind of calling into movies that I've seen, trying to recreate a certain look, and that's how I approach things. So I start here, and I get this this essential baseline. I'll hit Add, and what that does is it gives me a new layer, so I can stack effects on top of each other. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply an effect here called. This is actually an effect that I built when I was hired, called, where is it? Urban Sickness.
You built this one?
This effect here I built. And so, again, bring it to 0, drop it down. But this case here, I don't want it to apply to the door. So I'm going to take my masking brush and I'm going to remove it from the door. And that's
what I love. I love painting things in and out and not just laying an effect on.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I love these brushes.
And that's what separates, and I'm doing it kind of quickly here, but that's really what separates you from, and you, I say, just kind of like the figurative you versus other people's. Showing this methodology, the time. Like, watch, one thing I'm going to do, that little bit of yellowish color, I'm going to build a color enhancer effect specifically for that channel, so for the yellow channel, that is going to boost. You see how it's affecting the entire image?
Oh,
I'm not worried about that, though. Watch.
So you added a new layer to do that, right?
I did. I'm sorry. I hit Add for a new layer. I built a custom color enhancer for the yellows. I'm going to take my masking brush, bring up the inspector. So the inspector is this little icon. Yeah, it's a little boy.
Excellent.
It inspects very well. I'm going to invert. What inverting does is it essentially flips the presence of the effect. And now I can take my masking brush and just paint it right here.
Excellent.
So it's those little things. You might think, oh, that's kind of minute, but I'm telling you, it's those little things that will make you stand out.
This could give Photoshop a run for its money.
It could. It could.
Totally. I think so.
Just saying.
But here's the last thing. I'm going to take the last minute. I'm going to switch out of here right from Perfect Effects to Focal Point, because what I want to do is create a shallow depth of field. And I'll show you what I mean here. And this is going to be really quick. So Focal Point. You got a focus bug. Anything.
That's good.
It's all charged up. Yeah.
Oh my God, that just revolutionized my workflow.
Yep.
Well, we're not even done.
Look, he's not even done. Hold on.
But wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more.
Okay, now we're sounding like an infomercial. For only $19.95 if you pick up the phone right now.
Act
2
now.
copies.
3 easy payments of just.
Okay, but the big surprise, well, I'll tell the big surprise as soon as he's done here, because we have more. It's not just a giveaway tonight.
No.
We have more. There's
There's more.
But you finish what you're doing, Brian. You got 30 seconds.
I'm done.
You're
That's
done?
it.
I
So you
forgot
added
that.
that at
No,
the
Brian,
top
can
and
you
the
show us
bottom.
can you show us the before and after?
now.
Yeah. So
I want to say something from a photographer, an artist photographer's point of view. Photoshop is a huge program that nobody knows everything about, whereas this product is built for photographers. Photoshop was built for illustrators. It wasn't really, I mean, they integrated photography as it went along. This is built for photographers. It's much more intuitive, and everything you need is right there.
Yep.
You don't have
And
to
I mean,
If you're not salivating over this now, you
it's
should
awesome.
be.
And I've just been
You should
playing
be
with it, and
drooling.
the difference between how user-friendly it is crazy.
Right.
big difference.
I mean,
Anything that calls like a little thing over it a bug,
And then
like that, it's like so awesome.
I love the bug.
I
So,
totally love the bug.
do the before and after.
All right, so this is just this is the tone mapped image. This is just a flat image, and we stylized it with perfect effects, and then we jumped into focal point just to render this area here out of focus.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to bring attention here. So you hit save, and it comes right back into Lightroom. So I launch it from Lightroom. It's a PSD file. So if you do need to go into Photoshop, I can take the image over here. This image, I can send it to Photoshop, and it retains all of the layers.
Oh my gosh.
Wicked.
awesome.
It keeps getting better and better.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
You go.
Yeah. No, we don't look. It's really presumptuous of us to say. We know you don't need Photoshop anymore. At least for now. But yeah, we look. The advanced photographer. I'm one of them. You can't deny Photoshop's content aware. That's just kind of being naive.
It definitely has a certain amount of power.
But we're trying to span a much broader group of photographers. From the little kid who just got the camera and wants to try something cool to someone like us who there's
Yep.
yeah.
So here is where we get to spend 1 minute of our precious time giving away a copy of the On One Perfect Suite 6.1 to one of you in the chat. But see, the exciting part is it's not just tonight. Thanks to Brian Matiash, our hero, we are giving away a copy of this every show.
Yeah, baby.
Nice.
And we didn't steal it out of the back of his truck at all. So awesome.
Yes, we did. That was your job,
We did
Kelly.
do it the Brooklyn way.
no
did.
threats were made whatsoever.
Yeah.
Brian offered this. He offered this a few weeks ago, and we are so grateful and so excited, and we're so excited for you guys. Tonight we're doing it in the chat just because it's quick and easy and down and dirty. However, we know what pressure that is, and we know that our friends overseas can't take part in a live necessarily in a live event. So we're going to be doing it different ways each week. Sometimes it'll be something we award later, and different different games. We'll make stuff
It's
up.
structured differently each
Yeah.
time so that everyone has an opportunity.
Yeah. Tonight, it's just down and dirty, and you're going to get all sweaty, but we're going to be giving it away every show.
Too late.
More chances to win.
So, here's the question. What is Brian Matiash's favorite tool of this suite? What? Again, I will read. There you go.
Oh, there it was. There it was.
Julie
You are the
Jameson.
winner.
Yeah, Julie Jameson did it.
Congratulations.
Hey, you were listening.
She says, me, 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 me.
I was wondering. What's your favorite tool?
Oh, my friendly goat. Yes.
Julie Jameson is now she's got the fastest finger of the group.
Yeah, she did. Give you
So-
a run for your money.
How this is going to happen, I forget.
Oh,
Then give it to let Brian do that part.
yeah. So just send me a message, or either get it to one of the panelists here. Just send it to me. Send me a message. I just need your name, email address, if you want it shipped, an address, and your phone number.
You can also do a download. You do not have
Yep.
to have the disc shipped. I do downloads. I don't like discs. I just lose them, so I do the download.
Yeah.
So, so if you PM Brian privately, nobody will get your info, and you can say, I'm the winner!
Yeah, we need to make sure that this is actually going to be a Julie Jameson and not some punk who
pretends that they are. Yeah.
Have Julie right now post her Google Plus
Her Google
profile.
Plus
Yeah,
page.
Yes.
Julie Jameson said that she's working on a trial now. She just needs a serial number.
Oh,
So Julie, type in your, give us your Google Plus link, your profile page.
So we can verify you.
We must verify you.
A very strict validation process.
That is funny. We have a funny crew in our audience.
We sure do.
So Brian, if you can remember that link, then you'll be able to verify her.
Yeah.
I just need to copy. I'm trying to copy it before it hands up.
You can scroll if it
Yeah,
gets
got it. I'm good to go. Let me see.
And so,
Julie, your link is not working.
Julie. I know Julie.
Yeah. You can also click the link, and it will just take you there too. So.
Oh, Julie, that's good. I'm glad you won. Awesome.
So you can click it. You can click the link and then save it in a circle or something for yourself, and then you'll have it.
and as we approach the end of the show, is it just about time to have Brian share with us some inspiration on the plus one?
certainly is.
Oh, I'm
It's
excited
that
for
time.
Yes, Ron.
This is the part of the show where one of us, today's Brian, gets to share a photographer or two, a few pictures from them, and talk about why they are inspiring or encouraging or why they like them especially so much. So, Brian, could you do that?
My pleasure, and thank you for giving me that opportunity. This actually was really, and I knew the two people. The first one is Julie Jameson.
Just one.
Oh, well played.
This first photographer, I absolutely fell in love with her. So over the past, I definitely, my photography it goes through phases. I think a lot of us have that, or can relate to that. And I went heavy for four-ish years in the HDR, and then moved to more of the minimalist kind of ultra high key black and white. And now I'm gravitating towards these kind of composites, these textures. Let me see if I can just go to her photos. Right here, she is just tremendous. She reminds me of kind of Teresa Stover in a way, with her use of composites and textures.
Yeah.
But for me, this just butters my bread. This is
So
just.
good. I like her work too.
It's fantastic.
Awesome.
It's because look, that's the thing that I get, and it's you can say the same thing about HDR, like where people just abuse it or they don't know what they're doing. There's methodology here, and that's
Definitely.
the textures are chosen here. You can tell, and so I just am enamored. Her name again. Sarah Jarrett. I'll put her link in the chat.
Yeah, Jared. Yeah,
Thank you.
I posted it in the chat already.
Oh, awesome.
Did you? You're
Yeah.
faster than me there. I was trying.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
The next person, same exact thing. So one of the best, I guess, byproducts of my role here at On One is I get to meet. I'm in charge of working with partners. So we'll identify a photographer that we want to work with for whatever reasons, and then Nicole's a partner of ours. We work with her. We have an On One marketplace where we sell like presets and textures that you see here. So Doug is one of them, Doug Landreth. I met Doug about a year ago. This guy is a Jedi master. He's Seattle-based. He's a Jedi master with masking and compositing, and he's relatively new to Google+. And so I intentionally picked him because I would love for him to get more followers. He's part of his company is called Photomorphous, and I'm sure you can get all the information here. It's right here, Photomorphous. But when you scroll through, I mean, his stuff is just dwellings. This is great. It's just fantastic. I love what he does. And I'm proud to call him a friend. We went shooting last week here in Portland, and the guy is just looking into his eye and seeing. I get to see him process because we'll work on videos together and stuff. Dude is just money in the bank. So
Wow.
I've already happily added both of them.
Wow.
good, and I hope
Easy
everyone
good.
does. I would love to have that kind of effect, on both of these two. They're just. I think everyone loves seeing these types of images. I don't think maybe they know why they love it or what makes it so amazing.
That is awesome.
None of these textures should be, used as filler for a crap photo. So just like HDR shouldn't be used as filler for a crap photo. But yeah, these guys are just fantastic. Sarah is just phenomenal, and I can't say enough about them.
That is fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We
Pleasure.
have two new fabulous to follow.
They're inspirational. I mean, I've had no shortage of inspiration from them. So I hope everyone can kind of derive the same.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we're nearing the end of our broadcasted, recorded portion of our show, but we have an action-packed after show because in the after show, I believe Nicole is going to join us.
I think so.
So Nicole S. Young and Brian Matiash are our new young G+ power couple.
Yeah, baby.
And
So does that mean we get to squish their names together?
We already did that.
I get to do like a People magazine name.
It's
tag.
Right.
Yeah.
Frankel, G-Suite.
Yeah,
There we go.
so she's going to join us in the after show. We have to end this broadcast and then restart. I think when we end the broadcast, it still does what it always did, which is end this, and then we'll restart it again. So join again. Don't go away. Our next show in 2 weeks is again going to be our mentoring special, where we talk about the G+ mentoring program, which is unique here to G+ and is launching many new, fantastic new photographers in this, fresh new world of the digital online world. So it's very, very exciting. And Ron and Robin Griggs Wood will be talking about that. What am I forgetting? Keith Barrett.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you. And unless I have forgotten something and there's something else to add, no, then I'm going to say adieu. And
Oh, Karen, did you
Yes.
did you mention the new guest next week?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, just double checking.
I just did.
he's chatting.
So,
I just checked it.
thank
It's
God.
funny in the chat.
Thank goodness he's chatting. So we're going to say goodbye, but only for a short time. So watch for you can stay at Vidcast if you're there, and if you're in my stream, watch for the next little opening. We'll be broadcasting. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Anna,
Brian.
Software.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.